The truth is, I didn't feel peace when we came in here. You know why? Because you requested it, so that's why I have to say the truth. Okay? As a Buddhist follower, we should always listen to the truth. I understand that this is a chance for us to meet with the Venerable monks who walk for peace and to see Aloka, which is a very beautiful and good dog. And how many of you here for the Venerable monks who walk for peace? And how many of you here for Aloka? Who's here for Aloka? Raise your hand. Okay, so most of you are here for Aloka, not the monks. Okay, thank you for the truth. Since you are here for Aloka, then let's listen to Aloka talk. Well, because of love, because of kindness, because of hospitality, you're here for us. But at the same time, I feel that we are not peaceful. It's because we've been pushing each other, trying to get to the monks and Aloka.
Very sorry for that.
That is what makes me feel it's not peaceful. And everywhere we walk, that is not what we're looking for. We are looking for something else bigger than that. Much, much bigger than that. And what is it?
Peace.
Peace. Peace begins from within. Peace comes with mindfulness. It's because of not mindful, that is why it happened that way. Because we always wanted to achieve what our goal is. Our goal is to come here, to offer to the monk, to see the monk, to touch the monk, or for the monk to touch our head, or to get to touch Aloka and take pictures. That was our goal. That's why we are here, right? Most of us, okay? For a lot of you like that. And because of that reason, that's why when we arrive, we feel pressure. We feel pressure because on two sides, there's always our assistants, our kapiya always have to come along on both sides trying to open the way for the monks to walk. Which, that is not nice. Is that right? For that reason, I didn't feel peace. I didn't feel that energy of peace among us earlier. And we walk to raise awareness of peace, loving kindness, compassion to all the people, to all the beings. It means when we be able to slow down, stop doing what we have been doing for a moment, that is peace, when peace begins. It's because every single day we live with chaotic. Every single day we live rushing through our life, through this society, rushing and rushing and rushing. We rush our life. We rush to go to school, we rush to go to work, we rush to eat, we rush to go to sleep, we rush to die. That is the saddest part. It's because of unmindful, we chose to live that way. We barely have a peaceful moment where we can just settle down, where we can just slow down, doing nothing, just to focus on our breathing, just to aware of our thoughts, aware of our speech, and aware of our actions. We didn't have that habit. When we don't have that, we spread that energy to all the people around us. They feel that energy, they don't have peace either. And as a Buddhist follower, which the Buddha came to this world and he taught us how to be mindful, how to work towards mindfulness to bring peace to ourselves. Why do we need to bring peace to ourselves? It's because you are the only one, the only person in this world who loves yourself so much. No one else. Not your husband, not your partners, not your friends, but yourself. You have to love yourself. Without loving yourself, then everything you do just gonna bring you to suffering, push yourself to suffering. Then what is the purpose of life when we come to this world and repeat it ourselves just like that every single day and every single life? That is why so many people, they didn't find the meaning of living in this world. That is the reason why they always ask, what is the purpose of life? We don't have a purpose of life. You can say, my purpose of life is to have a good job, to have a good family, to have a good kids, to have a great husband and wife. But all those are temporary. All those also suffering. Is that right? So the purpose of life is in all those. But the purpose of life is how to live at peace. How to liberate all kind of suffering. Just like the Buddha when he came to this world. And he practiced, he liberated. And he showed us that way, he showed us that path to walk on to get what he already got. But we didn't do it. We always rushing and create so much chaotic to our life. So we should ask ourselves now, what is our purpose in life from now on? Is it still husband and wife, family, job, health, school, degree, all those? Or liberation? Or mindfulness? You can have all those. You can have husband and wife, job, health, good family, good degree, all those. Nothing wrong with that, with all those. But in order for us to be successful in a good way, then we have to have mindfulness. Without mindfulness, all those degree, all those what we gain from is still not meaningful. Because we still suffer. Because we will use all those knowledge and all those power to bring suffer to the world. So that is not the purpose of life. Instead, we always aware of our thoughts, our words, our actions. To change ourselves and to change the society, we tend to ask and expect the world to be at peace. That is why so many of us and so many people in this world always talk about world peace. And we have conference and we have meetings and we have all those things. But then again, when together, we cannot have the same voice. We still argue. We still criticize each other. How can the world be at peace? This world can never be at peace when we, as the people who live in this world, always have greedy mind, delusion, hatred, all those, always wanted to gain power and materialities, always criticize the others, always try to find the mistakes of the others. This world can never be at peace. It's just a saying, world peace, but this world cannot be at peace until we, as a human being, doesn't matter what class we are, if we be able to live mindfully with our thoughts, our words, our actions, with kindness and compassion towards the others, all kind of beings, including just a small animal like this, that is when the world will start changing from chaotic to peace. But it's required all of us to walk together, to work together to build this world peace. Through actions, not through speech. Because we've been talking about peace for a long time. Generation after generations already. We don't need to continue talking about it. Instead, we need to take that into action. And it's always start from oneself. One person spread to the next person, to the next person, to the next family, to the neighbor, to the society, and to the one nation and the whole world. It works like that. But we have to start from ourselves. Let's just say we have 500 families in here. These 500 families, every single one of us in present right now, we start to build peace upon ourselves. We work and we live with peace every single day. And then we start to ask our kids, our family members, our family to do the same, to practice mindfulness. It means that we have 500 families who live in peace. With just that energy alone, it will spread to another 500 or even 1,000 of families around us. And then 1,000 of those families will spread it out again to another 1,000 and 1,000 and 1,000 families. And it's just spread out just like that. That is when the world will become softer and peace begins. It can't just be peace when we are trying to push each other to make merit. It cannot work that way. You see the point? We are coming to the temple trying to cultivate merit. Is that right? Is that true that we come to the temple? Firstly, we want to cultivate merit. Because this is the place we think we will settle down, we will say all the good things, we will think all the good things, and we are not doing anything harmful to the others. Those will cultivate merit. Is that right? Yes. And when we learn the Dhamma, when we practice the Dhamma, that also give us merit, yes? But at the same time, we are pushing each other and we are trying to achieve our goal to gain our merit while ignoring everyone else. Then does that merit become bigger when we do that, or it's just very tiny? Very little. Because our mind has greed. Because our mind is not peaceful. It has defilements. So peace and merit will not come to us that way. Instead, if we peacefully stand and greet and offer if possible, if not, it's okay. Then that tells the different story, a whole different story, because we are so peaceful. That is how we change ourselves. That is how we change this society. Imagine 500 family if we live like this and we push in each other and try to gain our merit, our own merit. What about this whole town doing it? Then what's going to happen? I can't even have the word for that because it's going to create the whole mess. Is that right? So all these are the truth. All these are the things that we should always ask ourselves and always think about it. When we do something, we always have to think about this first. Why? Because the Buddha always said, before you do anything, you always have to have a joyful mind. Is that right? And while you're doing it, you should have that joyful mind, the same thing. And then after you doing it, you also have to have that joyful mind. And then while after, long time after that, months later, when you think about that moment, when you cultivate some merit, when you've done that, you still have that joyful mind. That is the way we should do it. But ask ourselves, did we have that? It's very difficult for us to have that. That is why we walk that many days, that many kilometers, miles, just to raise that awareness to all the people that peace always begins from within. It means that when we slow down, look back within, peace will arise. Because of not looking back, we always looking outward. That is why we cannot find peace. When we look outward, we always see problems. Is that right? When we use our eye to look outward, when we use our mind to head out there, we always see, oh, that person is so not so nice, or that baby is crying so much, or that person is not good at all. And all those things, we always see all those, and then we talk in our mind ourselves. But when we look back within, we only see ourselves, we only see our mind. Is unwholesome thought arise. Attention to it. That is why we always push ourselves to suffering. For that reason, when we walk, when we come here, we have this moment to share with you all. So hopefully you will take this message as a token of appreciation and start to practice that way to have peace for yourself. And may you all be well, may you all be happy and peaceful. May you soon liberate all kind of sufferings and attain Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. Respected Mahasangha. Are we settled now? If you all stand up like this, the back cannot see. So let's respect the people behind us. First of all, I pay respect to the Mahasangha. and pay deep gratitude towards the most venerable Bhante Maitri and the venerable monk who in charge this Anandakuti Vihara. We have been here already a long time ago during one of the strongest earthquake, if you recall that. We were here to do the disaster relief. We spent a good amount of time in Nepal to go here and there to support the victims with food and shelters and things like that. And so now we have a chance to come back here again. And this place has been changed. It changed so much. So now that are we living in this town peacefully or no? Yes or no? Yes. Really? Peacefully? Well, are we here to listen to the truth, or you want to listen to something that is easy to hear or sweet talk? The truth?
We often embark on great journeys seeking a sense of profound peace. We pack our bags, cross oceans, or perhaps just drive across town to a quiet retreat center, a beautiful sanctuary, or a gathering led by a revered spiritual teacher. We arrive with our hearts full of hope, believing that simply entering a sacred space or being in the presence of someone who radiates calm will somehow transfer that serenity into our own weary bones. Yet, if we are truly honest with ourselves, and honesty is the bedrock of any genuine spiritual path, we frequently discover that the peace we so desperately seek does not automatically materialize. Instead, we bring our internal chaos right through the front doors with us. We might find ourselves subtly competing with others for the best seat, feeling a surge of impatience when someone blocks our view, or experiencing a quiet frustration when the experience doesn't match our idealized expectations. We push and pull, emotionally and sometimes physically, trying to grasp at tranquility as if it were a limited commodity on a store shelf. This uncomfortable truth is deeply necessary to acknowledge. It is much easier to listen to comforting words that validate our efforts. But profound transformation requires a willingness to hear what is real, even when it stings. When a spiritual teacher looks out at a crowd of eager seekers and gently points out the tension, the pushing, and the grasping, it is an act of profound compassion. It holds up a mirror to our collective state of being. We realize that we cannot forcefully extract peace from the external world, nor can we demand it from another person, no matter how enlightened they may be. Peace is not something we can acquire. It is a state of being that must be cultivated from the ground up, starting within the quiet architecture of our own minds. When we finally stop striving to capture peace from the outside, we open the door to the quiet revolution of creating it from the inside. The primary barrier to this internal cultivation is the relentless pace at which we live. If we step back and observe the modern landscape of our lives, we see a society swept up in a chaotic epidemic of speed. From the moment our alarms jolt us awake, we are in a state of acceleration. We rush to get the kids to school. We rush through traffic. We rush to our jobs. And we rush through our tasks. We even rush through our moments of nourishment, eating lunches over keyboards or in the driver's seat of our cars. We rush home to rush to sleep, only to wake up and do it all over again. There is a deep, agonizing tragedy in this cycle. We are effectively rushing to the end of our lives. We treat the present moment as merely a stepping stone, an obstacle to be hurdled on the way to a future that never quite arrives. This constant state of acceleration leaves us profoundly unmindful. We exist in a state of perpetual distraction, living entirely in our heads, dwelling on past regrets or anxiously anticipating future obligations. We rarely grant ourselves the profound grace of a single, unhurried moment. We have forgotten how to simply slow down, to do absolutely nothing, and to be perfectly okay with that emptiness. Yet, It is only in the slowing down that peace can take root. When we pause, when we consciously decide to stop the frantic momentum and simply focus on the rhythmic rise and fall of our own breathing, the world begins to soften. We become aware of our thoughts as they pass like clouds. We notice the tension in our shoulders, and we recognize the intentions behind our words and actions. This habit of pausing is not a luxury. It is the essential oxygen for a peaceful life. Without it, we unwittingly radiate an energy of stress and urgency, infecting everyone around us with the very chaos we are trying to escape. The reluctance to slow down is often rooted in a fear of facing ourselves, which brings us to one of the most radical and misunderstood teachings of mindfulness: the necessity of profound self-love. We are frequently conditioned to view self-focus as selfish, taught to pour all our energy into caring for our spouses, our children, our partners, and our communities. While these acts of devotion are beautiful, they become unsustainable and hollow if they are not built upon a foundation of deep, unwavering love for oneself. You are the only person who has been with you since your very first breath, and the only person who will be with you until your last. You are your own constant companion. If you do not extend kindness, patience, and compassion to this lifelong companion, every action you take in the world will carry a subtle undercurrent of suffering. To love yourself is not an act of vanity. It is an act of spiritual necessity. When we neglect our own inner well-being, when we harbor self-criticism or ignore our own emotional needs, we inevitably project that pain outward. We push ourselves towards suffering, and by extension, we push those we love toward it as well. Loving yourself means treating your own mind and body with the same gentle reverence you would offer a beloved friend. It means forgiving yourself for your missteps, honoring your need for rest, and making the conscious choice to protect your own peace. Without this foundational self-love, the cycle of life becomes a repetitive, exhausting treadmill of daily struggles, leading many to gaze up at the sky and wonder about the true meaning of their existence. When we ask about the purpose of life, we usually answer with a list of societal milestones. We define our purpose by our ability to secure a good job, build a comfortable home, earn prestigious degrees, and cultivate a healthy family. There is absolutely nothing wrong with these aspirations. A good job provides security, and a loving family provides warmth and connection. However, these external achievements are inherently fragile and temporary. The economy shifts, children grow up and leave, health fluctuates, and circumstances inevitably change. If we anchor our entire sense of purpose to these external, shifting sands, we are guaranteed to experience profound suffering when the tides eventually turn. The true purpose of life transcends these external markers. The ultimate goal, the great endeavor of the human spirit, is to learn how to live at peace and to liberate ourselves from the unnecessary suffering we inflict upon our own minds. We can still pursue the degree, cherish the spouse, and build the career, but we do so with a radically different foundation. We engage with the world not from a place of frantic grasping, but from a grounded center of mindfulness. Without mindfulness, all the knowledge, power, and material success we accumulate remain ultimately meaningless, because a chaotic mind will always find a way to use those resources to perpetuate stress. But when we shift our primary purpose toward inner liberation, our worldly successes become beautiful, joyful expressions of a peaceful heart, rather than desperate attempts to fill an inner void. To achieve this liberation, we must fundamentally change the direction of our gaze. Our default human setting is to look outward. We walk through the world scanning our environment for problems. We mentally critique the person who cuts us off in traffic. We judge a coworker's tone of voice. We feel annoyed by a child crying in a restaurant. And we constantly find fault in the way others live their lives. This outward-looking habit is a relentless engine of dissatisfaction. It keeps our minds agitated, caught up in narratives of grievance and irritation. As long as our attention is fixated on the flaws of the external world, we remain blind to the very source of our suffering. The practice of mindfulness asks us to perform a radical pivot, to turn the mirror inward. When we look back within ourselves, we begin to observe the landscape of our own minds. We see the unwholesome thoughts as they arise, the flashes of jealousy, the spikes of anger, the subtle waves of greed. We notice how quickly we leap to judgment, By simply paying attention to these internal movements without necessarily acting on them, we rob them of their power. We realize that the chaotic world we perceive is largely a projection of our own unquiet minds. Healing begins when we take absolute responsibility for our own thoughts, words, and actions. It is a humbling and profound realization that we cannot control the world, but we have total agency over how we respond to it. This shift in perspective completely transforms how we understand goodness and spiritual growth. We often approach spiritual practice or charitable acts with a mindset of accumulation. We go to a temple, volunteer at a shelter, or donate to a cause, hoping to cultivate merit or good karma. We want to be seen as good people, and we want to feel good about ourselves. But if we are aggressively pushing others aside to get to the front of the volunteer line, or if we offer charity while secretly harboring resentment or pride, the value of that action shrinks to almost nothing. Our minds are still clouded by defilements, by greed for spiritual status and an unpeaceful urgency. True goodness cannot be seized by force. It cannot coexist with a hostile heart. True spiritual goodness is intimately tied to the quality of our presence, not just the mechanics of our actions. The profound wisdom of the ancient teachings suggests that true peace is cultivated when we possess a joyful, steady mind at three distinct moments: before we act, while we are acting, and long after the action is complete. If we can peacefully stand back, allow others to go first, and offer our presence with genuine warmth, the simple act of stepping aside becomes a masterpiece of spiritual practice. It tells a whole different story when we can reflect on a kind deed months later and still feel a pure, unattached joy. We know we have acted from a place of true alignment. This is how we change ourselves. And miraculously, it is exactly how we change the society around us. We spend a great deal of time debating world peace. We hold international conferences, sign treaties, and argue on social media about how to fix the brokenness of the globe. Yet, generation after generation, the arguments persist, and true peace remains elusive. We cannot mandate global harmony from the top down. A world composed of individuals harboring greed, hatred, and a relentless desire for power can never be at peace, no matter what documents are signed. World peace is not a political state. It is a collective spiritual condition. It is an illusion to expect the world to be peaceful when our own minds are at war. The path to global transformation is deeply personal and entirely local. It requires the quiet, persistent effort of individuals walking together in awareness. Imagine a single person deciding to stop rushing, to breathe deeply, and to speak with intentional kindness. That one person fundamentally alters the emotional weather of their household. Their spouse feels it. Their children absorb it. Now imagine 500 families in a community committing to this same practice of daily mindfulness. They interact at the grocery store, at the school drop-off, and in their neighborhoods with an energy of patience rather than urgency. The impact of such a shift is mathematically staggering. The peaceful energy of those 500 families naturally spills over, influencing 1,000 more, and then 10,000 more. People sense the softness, the lack of judgment, the genuine compassion, and they are drawn to it. They begin to drop their own armor. This is the quiet revolution. It does not require loudspeakers or grand declarations. It requires only action and embodiment. We stop talking endlessly about peace and start living as expressions of it. We recognize that treating a stranger with dignity, or showing compassion to a small animal crossing our path, are not minor acts. They are the very building blocks of a new world. We are all on a pilgrimage, walking the long road of our lives. We have a choice in how we take each step. We can continue to push, rush, and grasp, exhausted by the endless pursuit of external validation. Or we can choose to stop. We can choose to look within, to offer ourselves profound love, and to walk with a joyful mind. The teachings of mindfulness are not distant, esoteric concepts. They are practical, immediate tools for reclaiming the beauty of our daily existence. Let us take this wisdom as a token of deep appreciation for the gift of life. May we slow down enough to cherish the present moment. May we be well. May we be happy. And may we become the very peace we so deeply wish to see in the world.